Hello, non-existent viewers. It is I, TVB, and I got Mason filming right now.
Hello.
So, last night, Mason and I saw Elemental, the latest Pixar movie, and we're on our way right now. I'm, driving us to the movie theater. We're gonna see Gillman, Teenage Kraken. I didn't want to review this video last night because both of us were way too exhausted to do so when we got back from the theater. But we figured, so since there's two big animated releases coming out roughly at the same time, I figured I could do another one of these double reviews where I've made these kind of videos before, back in February I did a double review for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania and Cocaine Bear, so I figured I could do one for a new Pixar movie and a new Dreamworks movie. I think that fits really well. But the trick is, since we're on our way now, I thought it'd be really interesting if we just gave our thoughts on Elemental now as we're driving to the theater, because my movie reviews generally follow a beginning, middle, end structure. There's me briefly summarizing the plot of the movie, hi versus TVB, this is the movie I just saw, and what the general premise is, and then the middle, sort of the transition, me talking about my expectations going into the movie that I saw, whether I was excited for it, dreading it, or whatever else, and then that's when the actual review starts. I say, okay, did I love my expectations? Yes or no? Why? And then I go into the goods, the bads, anywhere in between, and then the sort of there is where I sort of briefly summarize my expectations for the film's franchise going for the future. If it's a film where I know hey, I know there's gonna be sequels for this or whatever else, or compare it to whatever the film the film's predecessor was, and then I give my rating score on Yule scale of 0 to 9. And I should probably be driving straight because we're at a stoplight. So I figured, what if we we'll share our thoughts on Elemental. So what if we gave our expectations going into Teenage Kraken now as we're driving to the theater versus right after I just got back from seeing the movie? Because I don't know about you, Mason, I'm really excited for Gillman, Teenage Kraken.
I am excited too. Is she she's a Kraken, right?
Yes.
That is really cool.
Yeah, I love Dreamworks. I think Puss in Boots: The Last Wish and The Bad Guys last year, 2022 was just such a great year for Dreamworks. Those two movies especially made me promise myself I'm gonna see everything Dreamworks sees in theaters now, because they've been on them and Sony and Illumination have just they're going through a golden age at the moment, while Disney and Pixar are kind of fumbling back into the Stone Age with their bombs and everything, because Elemental actually did really badly at the box office at the moment, which I think is kind of a shame, because
that is a shame. It's a pretty good I think it deserved to do really well.
Yeah,
unless people are really bored of that narrative, and then honestly, if that's fine, but if people have different criticisms, then I'll have to hear them, because that's not...
I think people's main issue with Elemental not wanting to see it is, one, the trailers were pretty vague, or almost too vague, and didn't give enough away.
Yeah, that's true. There were some pretty cringy trailers.
It made it just seem too generic, or too really this is Pixar. It just seems so bland for an animated film. Or secondly, people are just really sick of Disney with their woke nonsense, shoving the agenda in people's faces nowadays. Strange World, that came out back in November. I haven't even seen Strange World. It bombed so badly because of the whole LGBT character.
Because it was too woke.
Yeah, that was the main complaint. And also, it just had a very mediocre story from what I've been told. Again, I haven't seen Strange World. Should probably give it a watch at some point.
Yeah, I need to watch it. So.
But I was really excited walking into Elemental.
I definitely don't agree with too woke type arguments, but I do understand why that would make it bomb.
Yeah, again, it's I don't
I think what's interesting is this is gonna be kind of today and yesterday and today. It's Pixar versus Dreamworks.
Yeah, exactly. Because I thought Elemental was really good. Yeah, it's nothing we haven't seen before. One thing I kind of wish the film did differently is introduce different types of elemental characters, because there's always water, earth, fire, air. We've seen those four done 100 times. Why not have ice elementals, or light elementals, or dark elementals, or maybe just have the earth elementals be regular dirt and rock and sand based, and have tree elementals or something like that. There's so many missed opportunities. Again, I'm a fantasy writer. I've been reading and writing and drawing fantasy and sci-fi for as long as I can remember, and I think there's just so many more opportunities to play with stuff like that. But aside from that little nitpick, I didn't have many issues with Elemental. It was just the animation is gorgeous, obviously, because it's Pixar.
It was great animation.
It had a really endearing story. It had likable characters. And you mentioned something really brilliant earlier. It's called Elemental, not just because of the elements, but elemental, because it's the water guy and the fire girl trying to connect with each other, even though they're two they're complete opposites, water and fire.
It's very mental states about them too.
Yeah, it's got a really cute story, and it has some good jokes too. I thought it landed. And again, I really don't think I liked it more than Turning Red and Lightyear. Those came out last year. I like both Turning Red and Lightyear. Pixar's kind of past its golden age, and they really need to change up something. Because I liked Lightyear, and I liked Turning Red that came out last year. The both films just felt kind of mediocre by Pixar standards. And I feel like Pixar could be doing a lot better, especially for Lightyear, considering that movie was in the Toy Story franchise, which is arguably, debatably, again, it's a matter of personal opinion at the end of the day, but I think the best animated film franchise of all time. So I really hope that Pixar changes the way they do things. With Disney in general, Disney properties, with Disney, Pixar, Marvel, they really need to or Star Wars, they really need to change their ways.
They gotta innovate.
Yeah. So I still like all the new Pixar Marvel movies despite the backlash they keep receiving, but they gotta do something different.
They do. I completely agree. I would love to see them innovate, and I think they have the opportunity to.
Yeah. We'll end this part of the video right now, and we'll be driving to the theater, and we'll see Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken again. Really excited for it. So we'll see if it holds up to my expectations, or yours as well, Mason.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll see you guys later tonight.
Bye.
3 hours later.
All right. Well, we just got out of the theater from Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken, and I think it was worth the wait. People complained that the trailers gave way too much of the movie's plot away, but for once I didn't have a problem with that, because at least I knew that, or we knew that Chelsea wasn't going to be some super cringy twist villain that we've seen in so many freaking animated movies nowadays. I'm so sick of that cliche.
So that was spoiled in the trailer?
Yeah, that was given away in the trailer, that Chelsea was, mermaids were all evil and whatnot.
I didn't see that in the trailer, so I had the experience of being oh, she's the mean girl that's actually nice. And then I was like, oh, she's the mean girl that's actually nice, but actually is mean. And I was like, wow.
DreamWorks is so punking Disney with all the Little Mermaid similarities. Kraken living on land and not allowed to go back into the water ball.
She looks like Ariel. I mean, it's
Chelsea,
awesome.
The evil mermaid looks like Ariel, which is just DreamWorks. You guys are freaking geniuses. I love DreamWorks, and I think the voice acting, the animation, the humor, the writing, I think was all on point. Nothing that anyone hasn't seen before by any means.
It's a classic prom movie. It's a prom movie.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a coming of age movie, and I think I think it's a worthy contender for one of the better animated films that came out this year.
Yeah, and honestly, it's one of the better prom movies, in the whole genre. There's so many movies about going to prom and at the end, and it was great.
And this is an original animated film. It's not a sequel. It's not a remake. We get so many live-action remakes. Again, this is why I'm upset at Elemental is bombing, because while these soulless live-action Disney remakes are raking in the dough, animated films like Elemental are not making as much. Therefore, Disney's pulling more budget out of the animation studios to shove it in live-action remakes. So I encourage you guys not to support live-action remakes. But yeah, Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken, it's an original film. It's not a sequel or a remake or a requel or an adaptation. It's its own original film. Support films like this. So Mason, this is your first time ever being in one of my reviews. I use a 0 to 9 scale when I review movies. So for Elemental and Teenage Kraken, so an 8 out of 9 is you love it, and a 9 out of 9 is S tier movie of the year, totally flawless, no issues with it, and a 5 or a 6 or 7 out of 9 is you liked it. A 4 out of 9 is meh, it's okay. A 2 or 3 out of 9 is you disliked it. A 1 out of 9 is you hated it, and a 0 out of 9 is honey, where's the bleach? What would you give Elemental on that scale?
I'm gonna give it a 6. I think it was overall 6 to me. And on your scale, first of all, it's your scale is very specific, and I'm giving it a 6 on your scale.
Okay, yeah. So you like the film?
I did. What would you give it? I really enjoyed. Well, yeah. Let me explain. I really enjoyed the movie. I liked it. As much as I can enjoy a high school movie. And I thought the animation was amazing. I thought the water was awesome.
Yeah, the sea creatures, they really look alive.
They did some amazing textures in it too, all those trippy textures and stuff, or just or there's kind of mathematical textures. That was really cute.
Yeah.
And I gave it a 6. I mean, I thought this would do well in those theaters too.
So what would you give Elemental then?
On your rating scale?
Yeah.
I would give it an. I'd give it an 8.
Okay. So, solid thumbs up for both films.
Mm-hmm.
I would give both films... I give both of them a 7 out of 9, so yeah, they're both really likable films. I would consider, like, I collect DVDs. I'd say like a 7 out of 9 is you like it enough to consider buying on DVD. Versus like a regular thumbs up, it's an extraordinary thumbs up.
I would buy both of these on DVD. Actually, I would definitely buy Elemental, and maybe I would buy Teenage Kraken.
Yeah, I would really want to go on a spree for both studios pretty soon. Well, yeah.
Yeah, it is a Dreamworks one, which is cool. It's cool to collect a Dreamworks
and
one.
what was that point you made earlier about, like, Disney with, there's anything over 70 writers and they all come from very similar backgrounds. Maybe that's why you think they're having issues with ideas nowadays.
And I definitely felt like this was the case with this movie as well. All I was talking about was, like, when you think of Pixar and Dreamworks and Disney and all these big movie companies that are making all their theater, it's like, you have to remember that the writers for one single movie are like 70 people, and most of those people who are hired are, I think, are college educated women, like women who graduated from college and then they graduate with a English degree or a women's studies degree, or, you know, anthropology or sociology degrees, history degrees. All of those people, they become writers, and like, so you can kind of see in these movies that those are, like, you can kind of see the lived experiences of all of them in these, like, characters, and it's hard to see the movies without seeing the writers in it. And I think that's at least a problem when I think there needs to be more diversity in the movies, you know, once they should incorporate other people's ideas and stuff. But it's just kind of like, those are the people who they pick the writers for.
Very wise words. You ready for Wendy's now?
I'm so ready for Wendy's.
All right. Thank you so much for watching this video, Mason. Thanks again for filming and joining us.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night. Stay beastly.
Stay beastly.